trying to be stream aware.
I do the same. I'm always like, where am I? What's going on? Last week,
Hi, welcome to R&R Productions. I am your DM, Maria Oglesby, and this is MissGuided Magic, an all-fem homebrew 5e game. We are joined here today by our other three players who you have yet to meet. This is Beth.
Hello, I am Beth. I am here. I'm excited, and you can find me at Beth Masco.
Kristen.
Hello, I'm Kristen. I don't really have much of a social media presence, but we can still be friends. My handle is Amazing Crazy Asian.
And Allison.
Hi, I'm Allison. You can find me on Twitter at It's a Feral.
And just a quick reminder, as you watch, you accrue things called channel points or aspects of chaos. You can use these to buy things for players during the game, such as inspiration, a D4 of health, etc. To give you a quick recap on what happened the last one shot, our other two players, Scoria and Beetle, journeyed through sitting near the Fallen Grotto, known for its sort of strange, unearthly creatures. And upon discovering that the earth had been cut off from power and things were dying, they discovered an innkeep, which they realized was hiding this sort of like eldritch life-sucking being. Upon battling it and defeating it with the assistance of somebody else who had been traveling through, they discovered an unlikely job opportunity and made their way along with Tibby, the Furbolg and right hand of the king that they are now employed by, up north to the capital in Vertogen. And along the way, they met an orc who volunteered to carry their luggage in exchange for traveling with them. However, as they made their way to the capital, Tibby having left to retrieve transportation for Beetle, who was having a hard time with her arthritis, Roscoe grew a little bit more uncomfortable, saying that as they started moving through more densely populated towns, that he needed to take a quick detour, moving through areas that are less populated, as was his wont, hoping to eventually meet back up with his friends, but unable to know for sure if he would be able to, given where they were headed. Meanwhile, as the army takes a brief respite from battle, we come to Julienne, who has been working alongside with the army, and her 2 weeks leave has just come up that she gets twice a year. And while normally she would journey to see family, she's had some trouble lately getting back and forth across the Fallen Grotto, as it's created an even larger rift than usual, and it's very treacherous. So seeing family isn't necessarily an option. She headed north to the closest town. Around the same time, Han traveled south in search of more densely populated areas, hoping for answers to dreams he'd been having. We're going to pick up there in, I'm so sorry, I should have written it down, in the town of Lahim, just north of the Fallen Grotto. It is a barely better than a hamlet, smaller than a town. On the map as more of a courtesy. It used to be a larger city in previous years, but with several hundred years of war, things have gotten bad. It hasn't been a great time lately. Most people who had lively professions have turned towards either farming for things that are often conscripted by soldiers, farming land that has been so soaked in blood it's difficult to grow anything on. The bare bones of a noble family that used to be there still resides in the general area, but they miss a lot of the pomp and circumstance that they were afforded. As you get into town, Julienne, you notice all of this. As you made your way up from the town, from the grotto toward the town, you heard mutterings of things being cursed, things being haunted, the usual stuff that usually is just surrounding the grotto and just war in general. There are a lot of, there are a lot of different things that happen in and around the grotto that aren't necessarily explained, and people will make up stories that let them sleep at night. If they have something to fixate their fears on, they're fairly, it makes them feel safer. So as you venture forward, you hope that what they've been saying is just hearsay, but you prepare your spells accordingly as you enter the town. there's not a whole lot to see here. You see a number of structures, but it's very clear that the people who are inhabiting the structures are, a fraction of what they used to be. What may have once been like a bustling bakery looks like, there's just one person working the counter selling, like a couple shelves worth of bread when there's a whole room available, etc. As you move through, you do notice that there is quite a bit of bloodroot everywhere. Bloodroot is a plant that sort of like poison ivy only grows where, things have been disturbed and it's kind of inexplicable how quickly it spreads. Bloodroot is a plant that really just sprouts where blood has been shed numerous times. And you notice glancing around that there is bloodroot just sort of sprouting like weeds around this town. This town has been through a lot. It's not currently a war zone, and you don't see any bloodstains anywhere, but you know that that's nothing necessarily remarkable with a war that's been going on for 200 years. As you approach this town on your 2 weeks of leave, what would you like to do?
Well, in lieu of being able to go home and see my family, I think I would first and foremost try to find a place to stay with a real bed and real food cooked, hopefully in a kitchen and not just over a fire. Maybe I'd try to send some letters to my family if that's possible. I'll have to look around and see if there's any couriers around that might be able to help.
Mhm. You look around and it seems that the couriers that were in the town have left already. They seem to have made a hasty exit. You ask around for rooms and the man who owns the one and only inn gives you, like just kind of like a gruff smile as you ask for a room for the night. You're not from around here, are you?
Not exactly.
Hmm. A number of other people in this town been around here ages. Don't live in much more than a hovel, but around this time of year, around the Shatari full moon, they'll pay for rooms if it means an extra lock between them and what's outside. I'm afraid there's no vacancy currently.
Do you know of anywhere else that might have an opening for me?
For the next 5 days, no.
What's going on for the next 5 days?
It's the full moon. Whenever the blood moon's around, something bad happens. There's talk. Ever since the Lord was murdered, there's been some unrest, been foul spirits wandering the area. Some say vengeful spirits seeking revenge for what happened to him and his family. Not
Jeez.
something I like to deal with. More or less, they keep to themselves unless you enter their area.
Do you think then it wouldn't be smart or safe to camp outside of town if there's nowhere else to stay?
He shrugs. Say, probably just as dangerous outside, all manner of creatures around. Picked a bad week to go on vacation. I'd say populated areas keep most of the animals at bay, at least.
And is this just an inn or is it like also a tavern?
I'd say they have like food and drink available. There's an eating area, but it's not like a boisterous tavern. You do see a couple people like nursing drinks who, like have clearly been listening on your conversation, but it doesn't look like they're barflies. No one here can really afford to be a barfly.
Okay.
These look like people who have worked all day and are maybe having a drink before going home.
If there's nowhere to stay and camping isn't safe, could I pay you to just let me sleep in a chair in here? Better safe inside than out there, I suppose.
Make a persuasion check.
All right. It's an 8.
Right. He gives you a grim smile. Ordinarily, I'd be happy to. Unfortunately, we're a very cautious people. There's more foul luck that befalls people than not, especially when things aren't as they're meant to be. I'm sorry, I can't allow that.
Fair enough. Could I trouble you for something to eat in the meantime?
Sure. Look, you, and he, as he's like kind of grabbing, like some bread off the counter and starts slicing it for you. Um, Look, you determined to stay in the area. Might want to look around. Sometimes other people pass through town. You could see if anyone can take care of themselves, would want to share a tent or a space, maybe safety in numbers. Afraid I can't do more.
It's all right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
He slides like a small jar of like pickled okra and some dry bread across the table to you.
Perfect. All right. I'll leave him a tip with it too. I'll go ahead and eat the slightly better than what I've been eating food that we have here. And then I suppose after that, I would take his advice and look around for anyone else.
Fair enough. You do look around for a while, and for the most part, people seem wary of you, despite you're wearing Thunderen colors, but given your position, they feel like usually you don't have an issue approaching people. These people just seem wary. Make an insight check.
Sure. 8.
These people seem wary of you. Asking around though, they are able to point you north of town and just say they've seen someone else in the area skulking around. They say it in a way that this person doesn't seem friendly. Like they saw someone creeping around, and that's the only foreign person they've seen.
Sounds promising.
Fair enough. You make your way north. Han, you are not used to spending time in town. You have been scoping out the area pretty thoroughly, but these people are acting weird. Make a survival check for me. Or I would say insight, whichever you'd like. You're muted.
It is a dirty 20.
Oh, okay. So looking around, these people are acting as if they're being preyed upon. You get the sense that they're looking the other way. If you just saw one person, you would assume they'd like committed a crime or something because they're acting as if they're guilty of something, like they're waiting for someone to find them. But everybody is acting like this. People are like turning in early. You can see people as the sun starts to go down, like put down their shovels, like whatever they've been doing for work during the day and head towards homes. You see things are being tightly shuttered. As you sort of like start to approach the area, realizing that if you want to stay somewhere for the night, you need to go in before things completely close. A figure approaches you. Julian and Han, could you please describe yourselves as you encounter each other?
Yeah.
Julian?
So Julian is a half elf. You see she's tall, she's got long dark hair, and she's wearing a military style coat that's mostly black, but you see a few colors on it that sort of mark her as Thunderen. She's got good posture, but she doesn't have the stiffness that can accompany it. And she is approaching you without any wariness that you maybe deserve given likely your scowl.
Yeah. So Hone is a tall, lanky, ashen, darkened skinned elf. He has long silver grayish hair, and as you come closer to him, you notice that he has visible scars on his hands and face, but his body is mostly covered by his clothing, which is dark. He just has a scowl on his face. He's just like very wary of you too, and because like he's kind of like behind a tree sort of, and you're coming toward him, and he's just like, okay. But you also notice that he's very kind of silent, and like footsteps that he makes are silent too.
Yeah. I would definitely just straight up approach you. Hey, are you heading into town?
Um, So Hone walks back a little bit. He's just trying to like give himself space between you and himself. And he's like, I wasn't planning on it because seems like the citizens in this town are very wary of
They
something.
are.
Yes.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that. Though it sounds like they have reason to be. Um, I've just heard whispers of bad things happening for the next few days, but they said that they're all full in all their inns in town. If you're staying out here, I don't. I'm Julian, by the way. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude. I was looking for a place to stay. They don't have it. You're standing by a tree. I don't know. Safety in numbers, perhaps?
Kind of tilts his head a little, looks down, thinks a little bit. Sure, we can camp together. Um, I have no need for sleep. I trance usually. Um, so I could help look out. I was planning on just keeping an eye on town and, you know, keeping my ears and eyes open for anything that would be out of the ordinary.
Works for me. So you don't sleep at all? Do you feel like rested when you wake in the morning? Or I guess not wake, but I don't know.
Sure, I don't know what it feels like to sleep. It's just like I'm in a trance and I still have dreams, but usually these dreams are sent to me by someone. So,
Really? Well, that's interesting. I sleep. I need it desperately. Um, so this should work out very nicely for me.
yes, I suppose it will.
It is getting dark. So as you guys, I'm assuming, find a spot to make camp, somebody go ahead and just make a survival check for me.
Sure can do.
Go for it.
That is a 15.
Okay. Hone, are you trying to create a camp like super close to town? Like, are you moving back into the woods? Like, where are you headed exactly?
I think it would make more sense to be closer to town, just so if there's anything, these people are scared of something. So if it has to be in the woods, then we're already in the woods. But if it's in town, I would like to be closer to town just so I can be more aware of what's going on.
Okay. You walk back a ways, and before you get into the woods, you see the rooftop of what looks like a stone manor or something that seems to mark the edge of town. Kind of making a camp between that area and like a thin scrub of wood, but not necessarily back in the wilderness. You make a camp, light a fire. If you would like to discuss anything as you camp, you're welcome to. If not, then we're going to move on with the story.
Hone has no interest in making small talk unless Julian asks him something, I guess.
I think she is perceptive enough to understand your MO at this point, and doesn't want to push your buttons at all. But you know, she when you're deciding on where to camp, I think she would say, you know, I think staying closer to town is smart. Everyone seems to be afraid, and so if something bad happens, I suppose I'd like to be close by.
Yes, I'm glad you agree.
All right, go ahead and make a perception check for me, Hone, as you just sort of start your watch for the night.
I'm at a 14.
Okay. Brosco, as you've moved through town, coming here a few days ago, You quickly assessed that there was some weird shit going on and you didn't want to have anything to do with it. Kind of making your way around the edge, you realize that maybe, because this is so close to the grotto, maybe there's been a monster sighting in the area, and you do need to go into town at some point to get supplies. But kind of poking around, you did find this large stone building that looks like it used to be a manor at the outskirts of town. Making your way inside and finding it largely abandoned, covered in sheets of dust. You were able to sort of stake out a spot without feeling like anyone was going to come intrude upon you. As you make your way through the town or the building, you do notice there are a number of portraits of people. And as you go through, you see they're named. This gentleman here is sort of like surly elder half-elf, a young human woman, and a boy that looks like he's about 10. They have large portraits above the dining area, and they are named His Lordship Logard Lark, Her Ladyship Lady Adeline Lark, and Aaron Lark. They're covered in dust. It's clear that like this place has not been cared for in quite some time. You would imagine this is who the previous occupants were. However, you don't see any sign of them. Making your way just like around the area. Let me shift over to the map for you. You guys are not here yet. I'm gonna move you over here. But your token is at the entryway there.
Mhm.
If you want to poke around the area at all or see if there's anything going on, you're welcome to. Or if you prefer, it is getting dark. So if you'd like to just make camp, that's fine too. But I would say you have time to do a couple of things if you'd like.
I guess just since this place does seem abandoned, I would maybe do a little bit of an investigation, sort of just of like if there's anything interesting, or to maybe see what precisely happened to these people, if something happened to them, or if there's anything maybe that they left behind that might be useful.
Okay, so I'd say you can do a cursory check of the house if you want, or you can do a very thorough check of one specific area.
I'll do a cursory check of the house. I don't think he's that committed to finding like treasure, but it's interesting and he might as well take a look around,
Okay, make an investigation check.
That's a natural 1.
Hey.
Which brings us up to 6. But I do have
Right.
good investigation, so whatever.
Looking around, you notice that there may be things buried. Like you see that there's sort of in what looks to be like an entertaining room, there's an organ. But the pieces, like the pipes are sort of connected together. It's not the sort of thing you can carry in your pack. Kind of peeking in, you see like a room that has some old maps on it, but you don't see any overt treasure. And you have a while here. You can always investigate more later, but it's getting dark, and even with your dark vision,
Yeah.
it's kind of a lot to do right now.
Can I just ask though, if there are the maps, is there just maybe a map of the land itself? Like, do they have like oh, this is the United States, or oh, this is like a very like a broad scale, like a map I would recognize as like, oh, that's the country or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I would say they probably would have a country map. This was like a wealthier home. I would say looking through the drawers, you're able to find one easily enough. Glancing at it from what you know of your area, it's a little bit outdated, but all the major cities are there.
All right, I'm gonna tuck that away just as a, might be good to have. You never know.
Okay.
And
you can add Vertogen map to your inventory.
cool. And other than that, I'll just get myself settled for camp for the night. I do think I might sort of tuck myself in the entranceway a little bit, just to get maybe like in the corner here.
Okay.
Maybe is there a window?
There are 3 bedrooms that have windows, and the beds are intact. But if you don't feel comfortable there, you can definitely these smaller areas over here are windows if you want to be next one.
Yeah, I think I'd just like to kind of get my back against a wall and just have a, you know, if I'm going to squat here for the night, I might as well, you know, just kind of have a little bit of a corner, a little sense of security. And I think just based on the sort of general vibe of this town that I'm kind of getting a glimpse of, and also how sort of creepy this house is, I think I'll just, you know, I'll just camp here in the corner with maybe a view out onto the yard for the night.
As you camp down and start to, you know, like roll out your bedroll and stuff, there's a crackling sound, as if a fire has been lit, but you know that the fireplaces were empty as far as you know. Along with the fire, you hear the faint sound of music, like a harp being plucked, a faint whispering sound kind of in the back of your head, as if like indistinct whispers that you can barely hear. And then throughout that, the entire house begins to creak ever so slightly. And this sort of like low, sort of like strangled moan, as if like someone is like choking as they try to scream, emanates from somewhere in the other room. I'd like you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Let's not use that dice. Go for something else. Ooh, that's significantly better than a natural one. You said wisdom?
Mm-hmm.
That's a 16 total.
Okay. You feel this presence push against your mind, and this voice whispers in your ear, murderer. As you kind of look around, you feel the presence try to invade your body, and you're able to push it off, but you can still hear it in your ear, as if it's like riding you piggyback, but not able to control you. You hear the voice saying over and over again the same word, getting louder and faster, almost as if it's waiting for you to respond. What would you like to do?
I'm going to roll up my bedroll as fast as I can and pretty much bolt out of the house. I no longer want to be in there at all.
Okay.
I don't think I say anything. I think I'm just, no, thank you. Never mind. Not a part of that. Not interested. Nope.
As you sprint out, the voice follows you, if it's as if it's latched onto you somehow. And it like starts to keen the farther away you get from the house, making these like high-pitched wails. It sounds almost childlike, but the voice is older. It's got that like creak to it that comes from age. And as it begins to feel a little bit more desperate as you move away, its voice grows a little more distinct. He murdered us. He murdered us. It does seem to be growing a little bit more faint as you run away.
I think hearing it change to a little more of a specific, it's not directed at me, like it's not calling me a murderer. I do slow down and maybe stop and look back at the house. Take a look around. Oh boy. All right. And I'm going to head back. I'm not going to go inside.
Okay.
But I am going to set up camp outside because I need to stay hidden. I need to stay secluded. I don't. That's fucking house.
Okay.
But I will sort of approach it carefully and stay on the outside of the house this time.
Fair enough. Hone, as we're keeping watch, you do hear somebody running through the woods, pause, and then start to walk back in the other direction. But you don't see anybody. And as far as you can tell, nobody is like disturbed your camp. You don't get the sense that anyone is trying to attack you, but you do think that there's somebody out there doing something odd. It's up to you if you want to act on that or if you want to just stay and keep watch.
Woman, are you awake?
No, I mean, now I am.
I sensed a presence, a strange one that had rushed next to that stone home, that large stone home, but they went back. It's not
That's
too
weird.
strange, but if you would like to investigate it, we could. Or you can go back to your slumber.
No, I'm awake now. She sort of stretches a bit and then just pulls her pack together. Let's go. You lead the way. I'm getting there.
Fair enough. Are you guys trying to approach? I suppose you're just walking to investigate.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check for me, then, Brusco.
Perception is, oh, that's actually pretty good. 13.
Okay. I would say as you move back, you do hear at least 2 other footsteps approaching.
Okay. I think I'm not gonna hide or anything. I think, at least initially, I'm going to continue to go about my business of setting up my bedroll, maybe under a tree nearby. And but I think if they do see me, it's very obviously I'm like pausing a lot to he's very clearly having a little bit of an internal struggle of trying to decide what the best course of action is.
Fair enough. And you see them approach. They're not stealthing. So as the 2 of you do approach the area, could you describe Brusco for us, Allison?
Yeah, Brusco is a very tall, maybe a little under 7 feet, full blood orc. He's got his head, the sides of his head are shaved, and he's got a long braid down the back. He's wearing a cloak and a bandolier of pouches. There's a wooden case kind of attached to the hip, like on the back, sort of thing. He's got it carrying around. Looks like he probably had his bedroll above that. Gray, green skin, amber eyes, big tusks, dark clothes. He is a big, broad man, and he's got a tattoo of a spade. You can probably just see the top of it as it comes up along, and it touches like the bottom of his jaw. And he's sort of awkwardly setting up a bedroll and muttering to himself as if he's having a little bit of an internal argument.
Do you think that's who you heard?
How far away are we from Brasco?
Well, if Brusco was under a tree, I'm assuming he would be over here somewhere. So you can say you guys are approaching bottom of the map here. There's a fence, but it's fairly dilapidated, so it would be easy enough to hop over it. The area does seem to be closed off.
Okay. Clones drugs. Probably.
All right.
I can hear you.
Julian will hop the fence and start walking over. Are you hiding from something?
That's a loaded question. Not specifically in this moment, no.
Okay.
He's gonna look them up and down a little bit. I was
my
in
friend
the
was
house.
concerned, and I got woken up. And were you running?
Yeah. Did you hear that?
Did we hear that?
You didn't hear anything.
No.
Oh, fuck. All right, I was gonna camp in the house for the night. Townsfolk are out of their minds, so I figured, why not? I went in there, looked around a little bit, and I started hearing voices
Okay.
talking about murder.
Has this happened to you before?
So I left and came back because there's nowhere else to stay. And now I keep hearing it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So you started hearing voices when you entered the building.
All of us, my wife, my child, me.
Did you hear that?
No.
Yep. I went in there. I was going to camp inside, a little bit of extra security.
What sort of voices are you hearing?
DM, do I know anything about do I know that a family was like something happened to a family in town, or since Brasco hasn't been like hanging out with the people?
You have not been in town long
Like
enough.
he doesn't technically.
You haven't been in town long enough to ask. You could, but you wouldn't know to ask about this sort of thing until now.
Okay. He kind of stands up and just sort of stretches with his hands over his head and goes, I'm assuming the family was murdered, because that's what they keep telling me.
Murdered.
Yes, you were murdered.
Yes.
All right, this is stupid.
Did you see dead bodies in the
I haven't
home?
seen anything. There was nobody in there. It was all covered in dust. There's portraits of people. It's like a family.
Oh. Well, it sounds like they have something to say.
Oh, they're saying it all right.
If the origin of these voices came from this abandoned home, perhaps it would make sense to investigate it.
I agree. Do you think that that's, I mean, you're sort of being plagued by these voices now, but would you want to come check it out?
Find him, kill him.
Oh, sorry. My internet's a little clunky. What did the voices just say to me? I don't know. I guess I get people. I don't like to mess around with the mental, the hearing stuff.
Well, maybe if we go check things out, we can see what the voices want and maybe they'll stop.
Well, they just said find him, kill him. I don't know who him is, but maybe the inside will have an answer or two.
It's not ominous at all.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
I guess so. I'm Brasco, by the
Oh.
way.
Yeah, Julian, and this is my new dear friend, Hone.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I don't think likes me very much, but we'll get there.
I'm sure you will.
He kind of just rolls his eyes.
All right. Well, I'll leave my bedroll there, and I'm gonna pull my sort of lower face mask up, just out of a sense of like, fuck this.
Okay, fair enough.
And I'll start making my way across the bridge to get closer to the house.
Okay. As you move across the bridge, the spirit just continues to hiss at you insistently, like, killed us, find him, kill him. The words just sort of like repeating over and over in your head.
He definitely looks rattled. I don't think he's ever experienced anything like this before, and it's very much not so much that he is afraid, but he is annoyed and unsettled. Um, and so he's just, and I think you two also notice every time something does hiss at him, he kind of jumps a little, like, stupid, stop working on it. I'm working on it.
Work harder.
Oh, spirits are sassy.
Did you, in the house, did you touch anything, or, I mean,
I took a map. I thought it might be good. I'm traveling, and I thought it might be a good idea to have a map, and they're dead.
dead and active, it sounds like. Well, just let's show us what you saw, and maybe we can figure this out.
Okay. I didn't see much, but I'll lead them back into the house, and I will show them the dusty portraits.
Okay.
And I guess I'll just sort of give them a vague, like, I looked around, but I didn't do anything really. I didn't find much at first. There's an organ in the other room, kind of a study where I found the maps, but I'm assuming the family was murdered by somebody, but find him, kill him.
Are
If you'd
you
like to tell me who, if you're listening in.
are you just hearing one voice, or is it the family?
I kind of am just hearing one, aren't I, DM?
Yes.
It's just the one.
Huh. Well, let's stick together, and maybe we can look around some more. Maybe we'll find something.
Okay. I
I
guess 3
guess
sets.
I'll start thoroughly investigating the room that we're currently in.
Okay. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Okie dokie.
Can I help him in that regard?
Sure. At advantage.
Yeah.
Add advantage. So that one, or ooh, that's a dirty 20.
Nice.
You investigate the room. You can kind of put things together with your survival skills, seeing where other things may have fit in at some point. It looks like this was a once immaculate hall, although it is just a one-story manor, and it has essentially the essential building blocks that were needed for whatever function this family had. It is well done. Like, you're inspecting the quality of the stone. Like, this is very, very nice. There's a lot to be salvaged here and scavenged, but it doesn't look like anyone has picked over this area. It looks like things are left almost intact. You see smashed pottery, that may have a little bit of gilding on it. You see a candelabra that looks like it could be melted down to something valuable. There's got to be a reason no one has looted this place, because this town that you saw is a fairly poor one.
Is there any indication of, like, am I able to tell how long ago this had happened? Or like guesstimate?
Long enough that there are not marks of any kind to indicate that there's something to track, if that's what you mean.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do? So
Can I see if I can look around for any of the as you mentioned at the beginning of the episode, the bloodweed?
Bloodroot.
Bloodroot, sorry.
Yeah, that's smart. You can take inspiration for that. I would say you are able to find some. There's some, because the stone has been sort of like pulled over and put together, you can find some at the window of this bedroom over here.
All right.
Of growing through the cracks, clearly trying to get into the house, but not quite able to.
All right. I guess I'll point it out to the others. Just be like, there's bloodroot in here. It looks like the bedroom, but
there. Now, as you walk in, you do notice there's a fire lit in the fireplace.
That's creepy. I didn't like that.
Oh, are you sure this is vacant?
I took a look around earlier, and there was nothing in here. There was no fire lit either. So, I mean, there's dust all over everything, and I assumed it was just a casualty of war, maybe, is what I figured. And
Yeah.
just a good place to camp out for the night since everywhere is taken. And yeah. I mean, if there's anybody living in here, they're playing a real great trick.
Can I look and see if I know you said that the dust hadn't really been moved or disturbed in places, but can I look and see if there's any indication of like hidden doors or like maybe like a cellar or something that
Yeah, sure.
we might not have been able to see? Okay.
Yeah, make an investigation.
Can I help
Right.
her?
Yeah, advantage.
All right. I'll take it. 17.
All right. Looking around, you don't see anything until you sort of glance under the bed, peeling the rug back, and you see the seam of what looks like a trapdoor. It'll take a little bit of work to get through. It looks like you'll have to move the entire bed, which has like a pretty big base. This is clearly something that was not often used, but you are able to pull it back eventually, I would say, with the three of you assisting. Pulling back the rug, you see the handle of what looks to be a trapdoor. The wood is still intact. Like, although this building is a shambles, it looks like there's, everything here was very well made.
Who's going down first?
I'll
go.
or I might be a better person to do that.
After you, sir.
Yeah, we don't know what's down there, so I'll take a quick look. And I would like to actually, can I check the trap door for traps? And you said investigation.
Mhm.
I'll help.
I've never played a rogue before. You said you'd help? Okay.
Yeah, I'll help.
That's
Really?
great, because that was a shitty roll that I rolled at first. An investigation is 5, 17, 22 total.
Okay. There is a small lock that is stopping you from opening it, and inspecting the lock, you don't see anything in particular nefarious about it, just that there is a lock. The seams themselves look fairly clean. I mean, aside from the dust, they look clean of traps. There doesn't seem to be anything booby-trapped about this place, or about this door.
May I pick the lock?
Yes, you may pick the lock.
Nice.
And that's proficiency bonus, right?
Proficiency bonus. And then I rule that you can either make it a dex or intelligence check, depending on which one you think you rely more on. But whatever you choose, just go ahead and set that and use that as a precedent from now on.
Okay. So, all right, I'll use dexterity and then plus proficiency.
Okay.
Oh, why? I'm using my inspiration. I'm sorry. I feel like, oh no, we're putting, that dice is going away. That dice is going away. Oh, natural 20. Way better. For a total of 26.
All right. You put your picks in the lock, just sort of fiddling with it. And you think it's a really, really good lock until you realize that it's just stuck. It's like, it's old. And so you stick another pick in and like kind of jam it through. There's a clicking sound. The lock opens, and the chain falls away, allowing you to open the area.
All right. I'll pop the door open, take a look inside, see what we got going on.
Okay. It's fairly dark and dusty. It's the size of a like medium to small bedroom. I would say like about the size of that rug that's underneath the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Glancing through, you see a desk, you see an unlit candle, a number of papers on the desk, and a number of like things in several different shelves in various bottles. They look like different potions, different, like there's a basically like a hidey hole of like different odd things. And you also see a vent-sized crawl space leading out.
I don't think it's trapped down here. So, but it looks like there's some interesting There's a desk, and I'll hop down into the
Okay.
room. And if anybody needs, like, I don't know if there's a ladder or a staircase or anything, but I'll help whoever maybe needs a hand down.
It's like a couple steps. It's built directly below the stone floor.
Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely go down.
Same.
All right. It's pretty dark. If anyone has a way to light things.
I have something, but I also have dark vision.
Ooh, I have a tinderbox. I'll light the candle.
Okay. You can go ahead with the candle. I'd say that lowers the DC on investigating things. If you guys would like to look for anything in particular, you can. Or
Yeah,
if you just general check, that's fine too.
Oh, I have a hooded lantern. I'll light my lantern too.
That's cool.
I'm like, what do I have in here?
If you chose a burglar's pack or something, it may have come with that.
Yeah, I'm sure I just picked an adventurers or something, but I always forget what's in the packs. So
I would love to check out what's on the desk, in the desk situation.
Okay, make an investigation check.
All right. 15.
All right. 15. You sort through the drawers. One of the drawers is locked, the one on the bottom, but you do find a tiny set of keys. You almost miss it, but kind of like feeling around on the bottom, there's like a groove. And as you pull it forward, like a tiny little latch comes off and the keys drop from the inside of the desk into your palm. I would say opening that, you see a journal. And you see a number of papers that seem to be research notes, as well as a few letters of correspondence that are in a sealed box, also with the journal in that desk.
Well, can I open the first journal that you mentioned and just sort of take a look?
Make an Arcana check, because this is not written in common.
Oh boy.
ooh.
21 somehow.
Oh.
Okay, so normally you aren't particularly good with runes, but all of these runes have to do with undeath, which is something that you particularly have studied and know about. Glancing through them and just sort of like reading through some of the rituals and spells listed, you get the sense that the person who lived here was trying to find a way to survive past death. Sort of like with a 21, I would say they were trying to create a death safety net to bring themselves back to life if they were murdered specifically.
I will relay that to the group. That's a little disconcerting. You said that the voices mentioned that they were murdered. It sounds like they were doing everything they could to avoid finding rest in that case.
Oh. Have I heard any voices since we found the hidey hole?
You can tell that the voice is still there because you still hear the indistinct whispering, but they've stayed fairly quiet.
All right.
I wonder if that means we're on the right track or the wrong track.
Well, you get the impression that they knew something was coming, which is a little worrying.
Yeah. What about the you said the box was locked? The one. Do you want to give this a go?
I would love to.
Thank you.
I'm so used to being a caster. I'm so excited.
The magic of locks.
That's a dirty 20.
Okay. You're able to easily pick this lock. It's fairly complicated. You think it was well made, but you're able to pick it easily enough. Inside are a host of letters. They're wrapped together and sealed, and then like a tiny slip of paper moved through the rope just to sort of label it, says evidence.
Well,
Let's go through these
That looks
letters, I
good.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll maybe split the stack in half and hand one off to Han and just kind of start flicking through them.
All right. So I'd say one stack seems to be correspondence between a historian, specifically a historian of lineage, and the Lord Logard Lark. You get the impression that he was asking as to whether or not the gene of tieflings is recessive or dominant, and letters that were asking about like clearly had paid sums for research to be done in this matter to if like variety of horns was hereditary specifically. And then also inquiring as to the matter of succession should he and his family die. Most of these letters seem to have been sent off, and then the person was either killed or was not able to add the correspondence response to this stack before they were killed. But there is one response in regards to whoever would inherit the manor if they were to die. It comes from a Sir Saleh, and it reads, Sir, given the scarcity of your family line, I do believe you are correct. Lord Burgard Vance would indeed assume the position of Lord were anything to befall you. Please know, like, please do tell us, are you ill? You know, like just sort of inquiring as to his health, etc.
Do you think Burgard Vance was the one that, killed them?
I don't know. Do you wait a minute. Were the portraits named?
There was Lord Logard Lark, Lady Adeline Lark, and Aaron Lark.
So if the Larks were concerned about being murdered, and these letters are all about their lineage and what would happen in the event of their death, if Burgard Vance would have benefit from their death, then maybe he did it. I know you've been hearing the voices, but can you talk with them? Are you able, if you maybe, I don't know, speak the name or something, would it?
Oh, I'll give it a shot. Did Burgard Vance kill you?
You don't hear anything right now.
They're not talking now.
Well,
can I just make a general investigation check around the room if I can find anything else hidden or like any signs of
You
struggle or whatever?
mentioned bottles or potions at some
Yeah,
point.
there were
I'd love.
potions too.
What do we got around? What's here?
Yeah, there were several shelf potions.
ooh.
I mean, they're not using them.
You can make your investigation check.
Okie dokie. So
This would be to find something hidden. If you specifically want to look at the potions, make an Arcana check.
Mhm. I'm looking at hidden things, so that would be a 12 for me.
Okay. You look around the room. I mean, there's the tunnel that leads out of the room. Like aside from the trapdoor, there's something kind of vent size that you could probably just barely squeeze through, but that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
This isn't related, but I really like on the map here, if you look all the way over at the little, like, there's like a little graveyard kind of situation happening on the outside. All the little skeletons are like different sized, and the one in the second one is just super fucking tiny.
Oh,
and
God.
For some reason it made me, but it's still like an adult skeleton. Like, I don't know. It made me laugh.
Perspective. It's just way deeper in the ground.
It's just.
Oh boy.
I thought about it earlier. And I wanted to point it out.
I've been learning how to use Dungeon Draft, and there were some interesting mistakes that happened when I was trying to set things. And I was like, well, you know what? Maybe it was just a very tiny person who died.
Yeah,
It's
like a
it's
gnome
fine.
or
It's
something.
fine.
Yeah.
It just made me chuckle. I don't know. um uh I want to look at those potions, but I do think the thing he would do is check out um the little crawl space way, and maybe shine his lantern down it a little bit.
All right. Shining your lantern down, it appears to move downwards. So you know that it moves deeper into the area. It's up to you if you would like to try and crawl through. It would be a very tight fit for someone as large as yourself.
I'm gonna take a ball bearing out of my bag and toss it down to see if I can get a sense for maybe how far down it goes.
Okay.
Nice.
So you toss it down. It does make plenty of noise on the stone. You get the sense that it slopes down gently quite a ways before you hear the sound of rolling. So it levels out at some point.
All right. And which direction does it go?
South. So
South. All right.
I see.
So this does lead south down towards the river, it looks like.
I am not exactly small. Hone, you might be the best to just sort of wiggle on through. Not to suggest that you should, but
Yeah.
if you felt so inclined.
I suppose I can try.
We can tie a rope to your feet or something, make sure that, we can reel you back in.
You can do that.
Yeah,
He
I'll take
hands
a
you.
rope
yeah.
off my pack and I'll just tie it just to like one ankle. Get a nice
He
knot
looks
on
down
there
at
just in
the
case.
rope. He looks down at the rope tied to his ankle. Here I go, I guess.
It's worth a shot. We'll keep an eye out for you.
All right. You move through. I think you described yourself as slender enough that I don't think you have an issue fitting through. You can tell this was meant for either a woman or like a very slender man. This is not meant for anyone of any substantial size. It was clearly
Or a child.
Yeah. Moving through, you kind of wiggle back and forth, eventually able to find your way to a space around here underneath the bushes. The area levels out and opens up a little bit, and you see what looks to be like the silhouette of a trapdoor above you, and there are steps going up to it. So you can push against it. It appears to be locked from the inside.
Okay. Locked from the inside. I have dark vision, so am I able to see or feel around for like a lock or like a way to try to undo it, or like?
I mean, you can see that there's a lock on the inside.
There is a lock.
But unless you're proficient with thieves' tools and have thieves' tools, you won't be able to unlock it unless you have a key.
Okay. Does it end just there, or does it keep going?
It ends there.
Okay.
I would say with your dark vision, what's your passive investigation?
My past mine?
Yeah.
It's at 13.
Okay.
Sorry, what did you say before you asked my passive investigation? Because my screen like kind of froze for a bit. So
just you would need to find the key if you're not proficient with thieves' tools.
Okay. Sure. Okay. And I would know that it would be like in that little bush area in front of the.
Your survival, like what, +6 or something?
+5.
Yeah, you'd have a general idea of where you are.
Okay. I crawl out of my little crawl space area and I relay that information to the gang
Right.
and letting them know that I cannot open this trapdoor because I do not have
Yeah.
the tools to do so.
I don't think I can get in there myself. I'm a little too big. Can I do another investigation check of the room itself, looking for a key, perhaps? That's a weird looking 8, but okay. That's 13 total.
In this small room, you don't see any other keys aside from the one that Julianne found.
All right. Can I look at the potions?
Yeah, make an arcana check.
Oh, wow. Absolutely phenomenal. Natural 20, but 21 total.
Wow.
Not proficient in Arcana.
Normally you wouldn't recognize these sort of potions, but you have a background using this particular variety. You see 2 potions of invisibility among the cluster of other things, and 1 potion of healing. The other things seem to be like a mix of components that could potentially be used for spells, but it looks like they have to do with whatever rituals or like enchantment this person was trying to place on themselves for the purposes of like a death catcher.
Okay. I'm gonna pocket one of those invisibility potions and point to the others and go, either you want healing or invisibility? These are pretty nice.
Yes, to either or both.
I'll just hand them both over, and you two, if you want to split them up between you, welcome
Yeah.
to it.
Hone, take your pick. I mean, this is great.
You want the invisibility potion?
Sure. Yeah.
Sweet. And then I guess maybe we should go check up topside, see if maybe
there's another key, or if we can get in another way.
I was thinking maybe I
if
can
somebody
try
got
going
away,
around
or if
to
this
the
is how they got
outside
in.
and trying to find
Yeah,
that.
Oh, Allison, you're cutting off.
Oh, there you are.
Okay, you cut out for a sec.
Oh no.
It's worth a shot. Worth a shot. Yeah, I think we should go check out. Oh no, who cut out? Me?
Yes.
Sorry. My internet's back and forth, and I'm trying so hard to just like muscle through and listen to make sure I don't miss anything. I was just saying maybe we should all go check out the if Han can lead us to where he was outside roughly, then maybe we can look around and find the exit of this trapdoor.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, go ahead and make a survival check, Han.
Okie dokes. Survival. It is at 19.
Okay. You're able to, with your knowledge, figure out pretty easily the patch of bushes this is on, and just kind of stomping around until you hear something hollow, you're able to find the trapdoor. As soon as you guys start to move in and about the house, coming out from the trapdoor, Roscoe, you start to hear the voice again. Find him, kill the murderer.
Was it? Oh, you said Burgard Vance? That was the name?
Mm-hmm.
Burgard Vance.
Did Burgard Vance kill you? Is that who I'm looking for?
The area is silent, but the house begins to rattle ever so slightly.
Do we feel the rattling too?
Yeah, you guys see like dust cascading down. You look around, like several tiles that have been sort of like cracked and corroded, like crack even further. Roscoe, you start to get the feeling that maybe this is why the house is in such disrepair.
Yeah. It's I've been trying to keep to myself, but it's kind of nice to know you two are also now seeing this.
Yeah, it's not my favorite thing.
Nope. And now you know why I almost left. Okay.
Do you think that was an affirmative, or was that like a, shaking the head no kind of situation?
I don't know, but I do think we're on the right track. I'd rather not speaking as someone who's maybe got a little bit of experience here, I would prefer not to kill somebody unless we have a 100%.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Was there any other indication of maybe where Burgard Vance would be, like return address on the letters, or um, like any other information within the letters that might indicate anything?
I
Didn't
believe
he
for
live at this house though?
He would
Burgard,
inherit it if they died, right? Yeah.
he would inherit the title as well,
I
Okay.
see.
right?
Yeah.
The letters like do have return addresses, but they're not for anyone named Burgard Vance. They're from this historian that he was in contact
Sure.
with.
Okay.
I mean, even if they know, it wasn't Burgard Vance, these people are dead. He hasn't
Yeah.
come to live here. That doesn't look like, or he hasn't tried. You two were in town a little bit. Did you hear about anybody named Burgard Vance?
Did I?
I mean, you heard that there was a lord that had
Okay.
been murdered, but they didn't. You hadn't really asked them any questions about if there was a current lord or something.
Right. Okay.
Right, so
you.
that's
I'd
okay.
say at this point it is getting quite late between investigating this and moving through secret passageways. I would say if you want to continue tonight, you will take a point of exhaustion, but you can move forward if you'd like.
Well,
Do you two want to maybe get some rest and then keep on with this later, maybe?
maybe in the morning
Yeah,
we can ask around and see if anybody knows anything.
that might be our best bet. I think talking to this Burgard Vance may be a good plan.
Yeah. Did we fully investigate the house? Like,
You investigated 2 rooms. Is there something
Okay.
you're looking for in particular? If you want to take a couple hours to do that, you can.
I mean, maybe peek in the rooms and see if there are bodies or, like anything super obvious. It doesn't have to be a very deep dive.
So just walking through, you don't see any bodies in the rooms.
Okay, cool.
Good to know. Good to
Yeah.
know. I actually, here's I guess maybe a slight question. If we left the house and we were looking around towards where the we were following the route of the secret passageway, how much bloodroot is there outside this bedroom and just in this area?
The area in general has sprigs of bloodroot, but there's a lot more around the windows.
Okay.
Like around the outside here and here.
Huh.
Is it something that is exclusive to that particular area outside, or is there more of it just sort of all over the grounds?
I mean, as you've gone through town, you've seen like bloodroot around, but there isn't like a really specific congregation of it anywhere else from what you can tell.
Okay.
Can I investigate just before we really settle down to try and get some sleep? Can I investigate this outside section of the wall? Just looking, because if this seems to be where the kind of congregation of bloodroot is, in this sort of walled window area, I think that's what I would like to look at and sort of see if I can't find anything, clues, hints, just investigate whatever I might be able to find.
Yeah, make an investigation check.
I would like to help as well.
Ooh, all right, so that first one was way better.
Yeah, like Han is just like standing watching Brosco, and then we'll eventually like point and be like, you missed something.
That's a 19 total.
All right. You do notice that there are several cracks where the roots have grown up so thickly that they've actually started to damage the foundation, and they seem to be trying to get through the wall.
Interesting. Can would the roots be from this tree here? Or is
The
it
root
just...
is what I meant.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind then. All right, then yeah,
Right.
that's
It's
all I
like
got.
those weeds that have like really long spread out root systems.
Okay. I don't know if you two know anything about this kind of thing, but it does seem like the plants are trying to get into the house, which is weird, but whatever.
All I know is that it's something that grows where blood has been spilled. So that's a little ominous.
I wonder if this is where it, you wonder if this is what happened, like if they died right here, but I don't know.
Perhaps if they died here, or if whoever was trying to find a way to get past death or go beyond death, perhaps there may have been some sort of sacrifices made.
Maybe. We'll do better in the morning, I think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Hopefully.
I'm gonna go back across and get my bedroll that I left behind.
Okay. Pick it up.
And yeah.
I would say you guys can take watch, but you camp the rest of the night more or less undisturbed. Brosco, you take a point of exhaustion as you try to sleep. Your dreams are plagued with nightmares. You see just sort of point of view of someone who is breathing hard, wheezing, clearly like not in good shape. It is dark at night, and you hear the banging of someone screaming. And you try to pull back the bed, but your arms are not as strong as they used to be. You hear a woman scream, and there's like this twinge in your heart as you know who has been killed. A small boy about 10 years old runs in. He has tiny antlers on his head, but aside from that, he looks like the boy in the portrait. He is absolutely terrified, and there is blood splattering his side. A wizened like white arm sort of like comes out and grabs him and says, help me pull. There are noises coming from the room outside, screams. The fire in the fireplace like ignites, and the man pushes, realizing he's not going to be able to get the bed out of the way, pushes the boy behind him and stands in front of whatever is coming to the door. You wake up drenched in sweat. Say, it is the next morning. You are, the rest of you rested. You do hear the faint whispering still, but for now it seems more dormant.
You don't look so good.
Yeah, I don't feel so good. God. I think I dreamed the murders. I think it was I think it was Lord Lark. I think he was trying to save his son, the little boy, Aaron. He had horns. There was screaming, and they tried to get the bed to go under the trapdoor, but they couldn't get down there. And then something came through the door, but I didn't see what it was. Oh, boy. Oh.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, that was rough.
Maybe there's something we missed in the bedroom.
They were trying to get down into the trapdoor.
Yeah. The fire was lit, you said.
The fire lit in the dream. It did light up on its own.
Should we investigate?
Well, it's the morning. We might as well before we try and figure out this Burgard Vance fella.
Yeah.
What are you trying to investigate?
I guess we're gonna go check out the fireplace.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to roll?
Yeah, sure. Is it lit?
Currently, no.
All right, I will investigate the fireplace.
I'll
Go
help.
ahead, make a roll at advantage.
Ooh, 17. I rolled a 17 and then a natural 20 for
Ooh.
I'm doing real good today. I mean, I
Golly.
also rolled some natural ones though. So maybe balancing. 25 total.
Damn. The fireplace seems completely normal. There's some ashes in there.
Not sifting through the ashes, nothing in there. Okay.
Perhaps the fireplace was lit as the voices or ghosts indication to look in the room, which we already had.
It was worth a shot, I guess, but there's nothing in here. No secret additional secret passageway.
Yes.
You don't see the extra secret passageways.
Is there any indication by the bed or in that area of like blood or like that what, you know?
You can investigate it if you'd like.
Sure.
I'll help Han out.
Okay.
Give me
Either that
advantage.
one or that one. 23.
It seems to be pretty much all scrubbed away, but you do see some tiny flecks of dried blood in the cracks in the back corner. Roscoe, you would recognize this as the area where you were standing defending this child.
Yeah, this is where they died, right here. That's where I saw it in my dream.
So even though much of this place is dilapidated, somebody made a very much conscious effort to clean up the evidence.
Maybe I do think things are looking more towards Burgard Vance. Because if he killed these people and then came in here to try and take the inheritance that he was owed, then he would have wanted it to look spotless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then, of course, it started rattling and talking to him. That's what I'm guessing.
Should we ask around?
Yeah, I think we should go try and find this Burgard Vance. I think if anybody's got the answers, it's going to be him.
Yeah.
You guys make
Downtown.
You make your way downtown. And before long, you see that people are out and about. There's like a hustle and a bustle around as people seem to be like trying to get things done as early as possible. As you get closer to town, you realize that buzz is congregated in a central area and looking on. You see tiny sprigs of bloodroot outside one of the windows of like what looks to be like maybe a butcher shop. And there are a number of guards sort of like moving through the area. There's a sound of somebody crying within. It seems like they're speaking with someone, the guards inside, although it looks like they're farther inside, like within one of the rooms. And the other guard is just sort of like waving other people along as people sort of like stop and inquire. Does anyone have a passive insight of 15 or higher?
Passive insight?
Yes.
Yes, 15.
16.
No.
The two of you would notice while people are asking what happened, their eyes are dull and none of them it seems as if they already expect an answer, but they're asking almost as if to hope they've been told otherwise. And walking by, you hear a few murmurs as the guards just sort of like indicate what's happened. Torak was killed. And a couple people just sort of like nod their heads as if they expected this and continue walking on. You do see several people. No, I guess you wouldn't see them. Just the voices inside. You do see a couple horses that look to be pretty nice horses, just sort of like hitched to a block outside. So you can tell there are a number of people inside, but right now that's all you'd be able to glean.
Can I try and stealthily make my way kind of around the house a little bit to see if I can't find a window in a further back room to see if I can't listen in. Like,
Yeah.
Pull my hood up, get my half mask up, and just kind of really slink my way.
Okay, make a stealth check.
Okay, that was very nearly terrible. 18 total.
Okay, you skulk around, just sort of. Are you telling your companions what you're doing?
I'll kind of tap Han and Julian and just be like, I'll be right back, and then lurk my way.
All right, you sort of lurk around the side of the building, and you do see a window. I would say with your stealth, you're able to sort of like peek through without being noticed, finding an angle where like part of a curtain is covering part of it, and just sort of like edge eye past. You see an orc woman in a chair, just sort of like sobbing, and somebody, you can't see who, is sort of like moving ever so slightly back and forth in front of her, a hand on her arm, just sort of like asking her questions as she's sobbing. She says, he realized the cat hadn't come inside, and he wanted to make sure she was okay. I was half asleep and he just never came back. I woke up and I called you as the first thing. I didn't kill him. And a hand hands her a glass of water, and she takes it, gulps it. The gloved hand retrieves the empty glass. Can you explain why somebody saw you later that night moving around the house? And she shakes her head. I didn't do anything. There's some banter back and forth as another guard comes in and is much more accusatory. You learn that she was seen by a neighbor moving outside later that night, and she seemed to be like hobbling as if she had injured herself. He says, do you mind if I take a look at your leg? And she shifts away from him. Do you mind if I take a look at your leg? Don't make me arrest you. And she very carefully, like you imagine, proffers her leg. The man lets out a like intake of breath. How did that happen? I just woke up like this. I know it sounds crazy, but I don't know. The man crosses his arms and kind of leans forward. And as he does, he like comes into the light. You see the face of a tiefling man with sort of like brownish red skin and long goat horns. He gives her just sort of like a very serious, grim expression. The other guard coughs at that point, and someone else walking in and says, Lord Vince, we found the murder weapon. And we're going to cut to break there. We'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes, and we'll continue the story from there. All right, and we're back. So we left off with you realizing, Roscoe, that Lord Burgard Vance is in fact the one questioning the suspect. Another guard came in and said that they had found the murder weapon. The man stands up and just sort of like follows him out. Glancing back at the woman, he says, "This isn't over." Continues forward into another room of the house. And
I'm gonna quietly make my way back around and meet back up with my new companions.
okay.
I'm just gonna give them a look and go, Burgard Vance is in that house. They're
Really?
questioning a woman who's insists she didn't what I'm assuming is her husband. I have no idea. But it looks like somebody was murdered. They're pretty bent on blaming the woman. She doesn't remember what happened last night. She woke up with an injury on her leg. And Burgard Vance is in there right now. And they found the murder weapon.
Are there guards posted outside the front of the house?
There is one guard in the front of the house ushering people along, and you would imagine there are more inside.
I think I'm gonna try something. Bear with me, you guys.
Do
And
what
I'll
you gotta do.
go up to the guard posted outside. Hi, there, someone died here, presumably?
He nods, kind of gives you a once over. It looks a little wary, but you can tell that your outfit puts him at ease to an extent.
Has anyone been by to read rights?
His expression softens. Go ahead and make a persuasion check for me.
Okay. 13.
Gives a slow shake of his head. Can't say that I know, ma'am. It's no one's allowed to touch or approach the body at the moment. I'm
Sure.
afraid I'll have to move along.
Fair enough. There's been a lot of death around, and I thought maybe allowing the peaceful transition might be appreciated by the next of kin.
Give a slow nod. I'll pass the word along.
Sure, I'll be around.
Are you staying anywhere here?
Unfortunately not. There doesn't seem to be a lot of room. Yeah.
Blood moves up.
Yeah. Well, just let me know if my presence would be welcomed, and then she'll just peace back out.
All right.
I tried to get in. They weren't having it.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Well, the best thing I could.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, worst case scenario, we figure out where Burgard Vance is staying or living.
Yeah. Is he still in the house?
Yeah, he was questioning the woman, which I would imagine is a little bit odd for the Lord to do. They did call him Lord Vance.
Well, maybe
Shall
we should
we wait?
Shall
Shall
yeah,
we wait?
post up out here and maybe follow him.
That's what I was thinking. At least figure out where he's living, see if we can't put some pieces together. Especially now that I'm thinking about it, this town was nervous. And if Burgard Vance killed those people, would he still be killing people?
I mean, it's possible. Everyone seems so resigned to the inevitability of death here.
That they're just gonna die in the middle of the night.
I mean, we
mean,
could ask around and see if, I guess, perhaps the opinions of the people, what they think of their Lord, perhaps.
yeah.
That might be better left to you two. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm a little intimidating.
You? No.
I would rather not talk to people, but if I have to.
I will go talk to people.
You know what I'll do? I'll follow along with Julianne and just kind of I'll keep with her, but sort of as this kind of slightly intimidating presence. We're
Yeah,
like, and be like, if anybody asks, you tell people I'm your bodyguard.
absolutely.
And just as a sort of like, oh, that's very official.
I'm just
Okay.
here to ask questions. Ooh.
Ooh, you know?
Yeah, so the people that have been sort of walking by, they're not making any attempt to like get information. It's just kind of like, well, this happened. Is that
It's almost as if they're waiting on a confirmation.
okay? Have people congregated anywhere specific or just like moved on? Where can I find some
The-
people to chat with?
Glancing around, you see a couple figures where the inn is, like maybe getting some breakfast if you'd like to stop and talk to some people there, talk to the innkeep.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. I'll head into the inn and see what I can find.
And I'm
Okay.
just gonna look sort of bored and not like just following along.
Okay. So not to intimidate anyone, but just to make her look more official.
Make her look more official, and maybe like if I need to maybe turn up the kind of glower a little bit, I will. But I'm
Love
mostly
that.
just I'm mostly just there to kind of add to the look of somebody who that like if somebody's asking you some questions,
Yeah.
maybe you should answer. You know,
Okay.
you never know. Just the whole picture.
All right. I would say there are 3 different people eating, one in a pair, one individually, and the innkeep is like cleaning the area, clearly like deep in thought, just sort of scrubbing the counter.
I'll go up to the innkeep first and just say there's a lot of commotion out there today.
Yeah. Yeah, another death.
Another this
Yeah,
happens
another
a
death.
lot.
Say, I mean, around the Shatere moon, say often enough, every couple full moons or so, something happens. Say it's cursed. People didn't believe at first, but I think a lot of them are starting to. A lot of them have left town.
Do you know the man who passed?
Okay. Got my meat from him for the stew.
Hmm. I heard some commotion and someone was being questioned. I think a woman, maybe his wife or someone.
Hey, Gletch. Not surprised.
Do you think she did it?
I mean, she found out recently. He kind of like leans in, not to speak ill of the dead, but he was two-timing her. And people had heard him fighting recently, a lot of raised emotion, but didn't strike me as a killer. Didn't know her that well, though. Seemed friendly enough every time I came in.
So with the death that follows the full moon, it just happens. People find the urge to kill.
Shrugs. It's what some people say. People say there's a haunting. Some people say there's just a riled bloodlust in a violent town. I like to think people are better than that, but see enough death, it makes you wonder.
Well, I assume they'll get to the bottom of it. There was a very stern-looking investigator asking questions. He seemed like he would figure this out.
Shrugs. The Lord, he does
Oh.
his best. There's not, I mean, there's only so much he can do.
Has he
But-
been the lord of the area for quite a while?
About 2 years, maybe.
Oh.
Since his predecessor was one of the murders.
Oh.
Nasty story that. Say the manor's still haunted.
Do you believe that?
There's got to be a reason he didn't move in. It's the best house in town. Had it all cleaned up too, all set to move in. Just changed his mind, bought a house in town, said he was wanting to spend more time with the people. And he seems to. He's does his best to check up on us. We pay taxes on time. He hasn't raised them since times have been tough. Does his best whenever someone winds up dead, but a place like this, there's only so much you can do.
And the previous lord, do you think they were murdered, or was it environmental? I mean,
He kind of like bites his lip. Like you can tell he's kind of on the edge of maybe telling you something. Make a persuasion check.
shit. Okay. I'm gonna use my inspiration because that was horseshit. 12.
The man kind of purses his lips. Look, I don't want to speak ill of our Lord, but there
Oh.
were some rumors surrounding him and the other Lord. He'd moved here a few years back. There were some things going on. There was some bad blood. Lord Logard, he was an odd man. Official story is he found some things that drove him to madness, and he murdered his wife and child and then killed himself. But there are other rumors. Look, it's in the past, and it's not something that needs to be dug up again.
Sorry, I didn't mean to have
It's
you
okay. It's
revisit.
okay.
Yeah. Well, it's a real shame. Lives
is.
are being cut short.
Torak was a good man. Not the best, clearly, but functioning member of the town. Be sad to see it.
Not
with
worthy.
your
Sorry.
with your passive insight, you can see that like he's clearly a little bit emotional, and maybe speaking to try and cover that. But there's a sense of resignation about him. So he like just sort of like away like any dewiness, just kind of scrubs harder on the counter.
Well, I wish I could offer more comfort. I know it's it's new, but
You're a
hopefully,
priestess of death, no?
yeah, more or less.
No. Hopefully the dead will find some rest with you here.
I should hope. I tried to see if I could read last rites to your friend, but they sort of ushered me away.
They're
I
all
don't blame
persuaded.
them.
But you should petition Lord Vance about it. He's open to that sort of thing. Tries to give
Oh.
the people a sense of closure.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Nice of you to offer to help.
Happy to. I'll leave you to it, I guess.
Good one to you.
And I'll book it out of there.
I'll
Okay.
follow after.
When I get like far enough away, and I am able to get sort of hone in the mix too. Like, okay, so you guys, there's a lot of information here. um, I was told to speak to Lord Vince and see, well, maybe if I could find my way inside, but it would be a very easy conversation starter, I think. Maybe if we give it a try.
Yeah. I'll go. Han, you've been hanging out here. Did you see Lord Vance leave the building at all, or are they still in there?
Yeah, what have you been doing, Hum?
I've been really awkwardly trying to talk to people, but like no avail. You just be like, "Excuse me," and then like people are just like, uh. But I would have kept an eye on the door at least.
Do you want to make a persuasion check, or just canonically you failed?
I would, I would, I guess I could try. I'd be like, what kind of bullshit can I come up with?
Story of my life.
um, so I don't even know.
Yeah. Roll persuasion.
Persuasion. Let's go. That is a 7.
Solid.
In
Yeah.
character. It's fine.
Solidly awkward. Right.
Very odd.
You do notice the Lord conduct business. You also notice that several guards lead this woman out in manacles. She is
Okay.
placed in a carriage and taken farther down into the town. Lord Vince mounts his horse and rides off following the carriage, but soon turns off onto a side street.
Should we follow?
I think we should.
Or was there any chance of us like calling out to him before he had left? Or
With his 7, no.
no? Nice. Okay. So I'm assuming like they come out and they're like, "So where is he?" And I'm just like, okay,
I just point.
where'd he go? They left and went that way.
Did they didn't take a body out, did they? Did he notice that?
Doesn't look like they've taken a body out yet.
Okay.
Let's go or go.
I mean,
Now that
well,
Julian, I think it might be a good idea to get a look at the body at least.
yeah, if they'll let me.
Yeah,
They didn't before.
Is there anybody else left back there? It's just the body.
I mean, it doesn't look like anybody is guarding the house, but you would imagine they probably locked the door behind them.
I mean, that's not a problem.
Yeah, I mean,
In broad,
I
but in broad daylight.
I mean, I could check out the house maybe on my own. Even as tired as I am, I'm pretty slick. But if they've locked it up and they haven't taken a body out yet, they're probably bringing the wife down for further questioning, which means we might want to try and cut that off at the pass if we can. Especially if something's happening that's killing these people. She's probably innocent.
So let's try to tail him or follow him.
Where do you want to go? Do you want to follow Lord Vince? Do you want to try and break in and investigate the body? Or do you want to try and follow this woman who's been taken in for questioning?
I think we should follow Lord Vance. I think he knows way more than I think we should go after him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. You guys move down the place where the carriage went, turning off on the same street, you see a large residential area, just sort of walking along. Go ahead and make like a survival or investigation check.
All of us, or just whoever?
I mean, unless you want to just follow instead of actively look. It's up to you.
I got a 19 on investigation.
Nice. I would say that, Adrienne, you're able to walk down, and you've been to settlements similar to this before, where a lot of things are run down. You know, like what areas of upkeep to look for, and are able to identify the houses that seem to be well kept. You identify the largest one of those, which you imagine would be his, because he's probably the wealthiest person in town.
I'll point it out.
Okay. It's like a nice, steadfast homestead, 2 stories. It's not a manor by any means, but it's fairly large.
You said he rode a horse coming back, right?
Yes.
Is his horse hitched nearby, or
Not hitched, but you do see there's a small stable to the side. Just a couple stalls and a paddock.
is a horse in there?
Yeah, there's a horse in there.
Do we just
Knock knock?
introduce ourselves?
Might as well. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, what else are we gonna do?
Sure, yeah. I can let him know that I was hoping to maybe perform last rites. The innkeep said I should ask, maybe that can be our conversation starter, and then we'll grill him.
Mm-hmm.
I've got an idea, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take out the potion of invisibility.
Okay.
Beautiful.
I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't get inside his house.
Hey, let's go.
Amazing.
So you two maybe question. I'll get inside the house and see if I can't find anything good.
This
I
cannot
guess
go wrong. I love
I
this.
could come with, or don't.
Entirely up to you. I mean, wherever you feel like you'd be most effective.
It's up to you.
I'll come with Brasco.
Nice.
Well,
All right.
all right.
All right.
In
That's right, you
that,
both open, so
well, yeah. In that case, though, I might not use the potion right away.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna try and sort of sneak around back at first, because Allison hates blowing 2 potions of invisibility so early in a campaign. You know what I mean?
I mean, I could knock on the front door. You could go around to the back door.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, we maybe use a little bit of cover to get around back, and
Yeah. I know you're a little bit more tired than you might normally be.
uh,
Up to you.
now let's actually. All right. A part of me kind of wants to just go in there and start grilling him. Does that make sense? Like,
I mean, he's got information that we need.
And I do think it would help. I do think if one of us, if we're gonna sneak in,
Yeah.
it should probably just be one of us.
Yeah.
So
So.
maybe all 3 of us can talk to him. Let's do that instead, I think.
Sure.
Just for now. If it doesn't
Yeah.
go well, you can always punch him in the face. All right.
That is a viable option. Yes.
Always good.
Hoping that is not the route that we end up having to go on. I will walk up to the door, give it a firm knock.
all right. There's a very long pause, and you hear someone, like creaking down the stairs. The Lord himself opens the door. He's quite tall. I would say like maybe a little over like 6.5 feet, if you include the horns.
He's about my height, yeah.
Kind of stares at the 3 of you in vague surprise, but gives you a gracious nod. I would say you've met other lords, Adrienne, And he's not dressed in all like the finery you normally see, but he is wearing just sort of like nice plain clothes. He seems a little bit more dressed down than like most of the pomp and circumstance you've seen. May I help you?
Hi, good morning, Lord Vince.
Good morning.
I was hoping I could speak with you for a moment. I'm not from town, but we were passing through and learned of the incident that happened overnight.
Yeah,
So sorry, by the way. It's terribly sad.
thank you. It's been a morning.
I was hoping that perhaps I could read the final rites to the deceased. If there's no one else in town that performs such rites.
We do have someone, but no one blessed by the goddess. I think that is a very nice offer of you. You're on leave from the military, kind of glancing around at your group.
Yes.
Sure.
I was just looking for a place to rest, but it seems like your town doesn't get much rest by the sound of it.
I apologize. The last few days, probably not the best place to be here. Do you have anywhere else to go? Can you return?
I still have more time. But well, it might not be fortunate, but maybe this is exactly where I should be.
Well, I must say, having a priestess here at this time may actually quite benefit the town, put some minds to rest. If you have no place to go, my home is open to you.
That's
I have
incredibly kind. Thank you. I think we might actually take you up on that.
We stayed outside last night.
It wasn't
day
ideal.
to do around
Well,
there.
we didn't have many options at the time. We stayed out by that old home, that the empty manor, just outside it.
Well, don't do that.
Well, we didn't know until this morning. The
Yeah.
innkeep told us, well, not much, just that there's a sordid history, I suppose. He was just talking about the full moon and, incidents that occur.
Indeed. Please, I'll let you into their home. Give me one moment. He closes the door. He comes back out with a key, leads you the short walk back to the butcher, allowing you entrance. He would just sort of indicate for you to go in, Julianne, unless the other two of you have arguments that you can make for attending.
I'm gonna stay outside with them.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of missed it. So what had happened?
Julianne is going.
I would say he makes a little bit of a presentation, walking especially slowly. With your passive insight, you would notice this, Adrienne and Hone. I'm sorry, I need to plug in my video. You would notice that he walks a little bit more slowly when you guys go through areas that seem a little more populated. You would get the impression that he's trying to make a show of having you here and having you come to perform rites. And people do seem like to take note that he is leading you by.
I see. Okay.
Opens the door for you, Adrienne. Take as long as you need.
Thank you.
We'll wait.
I'll stay inside with her.
He's just indicating for her to go in unless you have an argument as to how you'd like to gain entry. Julianne, how would you like to proceed? I know you had done some thinking about rituals
Yeah.
for your class, but I'm not sure if you had anything concrete planned out.
Yeah. So first I would go find the body.
So you walk into the room and you can smell the blood still, and it's very easy to find. Sort of going into the side room that seems to be like a living area of sorts off the side of their shop. The body is covered with a white cloth. Did you want to inspect the body like for injuries, or how would you like to approach this?
I would definitely want to be as respectful as possible, but I would pull back the sheet covering the body, both to strictly perform the rites, but also I would want to investigate discreetly
like,
and
Okay.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
Make a medicine check. And how thorough do you want to be? Like, do you want to like peek under, like not be indecent, but peek under some of the clothes just to like get a better look at the wounds? Or are you just doing like a cursory inspection?
I think I would probably do a cursory inspection without going too deep.
Okay. Make a
Yeah.
medicine check at disadvantage then.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just rolling twice. 12.
Okay. Without investigating further, it's with a cursory inspection, it's hard to see really specific details, but you can tell there are multiple stab wounds, like at least 12. There seem to be a number of broken bones, and this person is huge. Like, he has a lot of muscle and fat on him, and he's very tall. It would have been difficult to do this to this person. This is not someone who seems like easy to overpower.
It's a big old orc butcher, I assume?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Aw. I'm glad you didn't come in to see this. Okay, so sort of like a combination of what would be done in the field and maybe something a little bit more formal, since it's a safe space without battle actively happening around her. She would kind of go through the motions of saying a prayer, taking she's got a tincture of cypress oil in lieu of sprigs of cypress that would normally be bound in the hands. And so she would just sort of place some on the forehead, and then sort of taking a moment, she would likely, if not fully sing a hymn, maybe hum something, just sort of in a like meditative prayer-like moment, to allow for sort of safe passage. And yeah, she would leave it at that.
Right. You can take inspiration for that. I love that you thought of something to do there. All right.
While she's in there doing all this, I want to stand relatively close to Vance, just cross my arms and go, staying next to that manor last night, had a pretty nasty dream.
Nightmares are common during Shaterimon.
Yeah. Saw a young boy. A lot of blood. A lot of fear. And voices. Lord Vance, I'm not going to accuse anyone of anything. But if you know anything, and it is something that can be fixed, it might be for the benefit of this town that you actually say something about it.
Believe me, this is something I've been trying to investigate for some time now.
We looked all through that house. We found a room beneath a trapdoor. Is there anything you know? Because the voices in that building told me they were murdered.
Make a persuasion check.
Disadvantage. Oh boy. Ah, tits. The first one was fine. But I don't have great charisma. Oh shit, where'd it go? Sorry, I moved to look at the campaign.
Okay.
There we go. Back to Brasco. Command D&D Beyond. You said persuasion?
Mhm.
Oh no, it's a -1.
No.
Right. The man like
it's a
lip
4.
tightened. It was very much appreciated if you didn't disturb that resting place. There has been enough horror that's been set upon there. Those people don't deserve to be looted or desecrated. Let them rest.
I didn't go in there with any intention of doing any of that. They
You
came to
didn't
me.
take anything?
No.
Make a deception check.
Ooh.
Okay, it's kind of the same no matter what. Where is deception? I always want it to be right underneath persuasion, but it's not. There we go. An 11.
Okay. He gives you like a long appraising look. I'm sure you have only their best interests at heart.
Considering everything they've been telling me and showing me, I'd like nothing more than to set them at rest.
Can
Which is
I
the
make
truth.
an insight? Can I make an insight check on the Lord to see if what he's saying is lying or what he's saying is true or genuine?
Well, it's not really a lie detector, but you can try and get a read on like any emotions that are playing across his face if you'd like.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, what the heck? 24.
Okay. I mean, you get the sense that he feels affronted that Roscoe is implying that he like went through and looted the house and disturbed the ghost. And he seems genuinely upset and saddened that they're mentioning that. He does not seem, you didn't sense any note of surprise when he mentioned that there was a ghost. So it seems this is something either he knew about or was expecting, perhaps.
Okay. I ask him, we want to know what had happened. Maybe we could help with your investigation. Is there anything that you can tell us that you found?
I'm not sure how you think you could help, but rest assured, I've been looking for some time as to what happened that night, but it continues to elude me. Julianne, I would say you'd be finished with your rites about this time. Stepping out, you notice that there are a number of people who have stopped and watched the Lord, and you look and you see that Brosco and Hone have both like begun speaking to him, and it's just sort of inadvertently like moved in closer. They're definitely giving the impression that they're interrogating him. There are a lot of just sort of like suspicious looks being thrown your way currently.
I'll lean
Sure.
back and just kind of, I'll just lean back and
I would come up to the group again. I'm all finished. Thank you for allowing me to do that.
Of course. Thank you for performing the rites. I'm sure it will help the soul rest. Shall we?
Please.
Indeed. There are no other murders presently, but tomorrow is the midday of the full moon. It will most likely be worse that night. Not sure how familiar you are, but it is good to Keep yourself inside, light no fires. Say your prayers. Keep the doors and windows closed.
As we're walking, Brasco goes, "What about the fires?"
At almost every murder scene, there's evidence of a fire having been lit. Occasionally, oddly colored embers. It seems this is something reoccurring. It's bad luck.
Is anything, I mean, it sounds like these are anticipated attacks, killings. Is there anything to be done to prevent them?
That's what I've been trying to figure out.
I
I can show you.
I know I can be rough. But I do, honestly, I would like to fix what's happening here. I didn't get any sleep last night. I saw that little boy die. I mean it sincerely when I say we are trying to help. Not because I'm usually someone who tries to help.
Gives a nod. Not sure of your motivation, but we'll take any help we get. This isn't a place that's well protected. He kind of leads you inside, shows you to several guest rooms where you can take a nap if you'd like to try and stop your exhaustion.
They will. I don't like exhaustion.
He leads you to his study, and as he opens the door, you see there's like a conspiracy board with like red lines taking up most of one wall. There's a list of names, so a couple sketches. Usually they're done in charcoal, and you recognize these, Julianne, as memorial portraits that are done of the dead in multiple places. There's lists like connecting different strings to each other, connecting different like lists of other people, and he kind of gestures. Please feel free to investigate, but as far as I can tell, all of these are privately motivated. If you'd like to go across and look, they read things similar to the one of the current murder, which is, you would imagine, is what he was working on after he left the house. So it has several strings between Torak, the murdered butcher, and a couple other people. There's a woman's name who you don't recognize, but she's connected to a couple other people in town. You would imagine this is like the person he was two-timing with, and his wife's name.
So what are men good for? Nothing.
Yeah. There's the wife's name. There's a couple distant family members, and you can see like potential motivations written down, like jealousy, like interview witness, but looking at all of these different murders, there's clearly some motivating factor. Like maybe this person didn't seem like a killer, but they were clearly upset at the person who was murdered for some reason. And all of them reported no memory that night. There were no witnesses to the actual murders. Everybody who could have been a witness was also killed. So there are a couple instances where it's like somebody was mad at somebody else for like cheating them out of part of their land. Though, that person lost their memory, the other person ended up dead. That person's family also ended up dead. Because they were presumably in the same house, location ? Like one room house, and like a couple things are listed. And it seems like some of these people are related or are friends with each other, which might be what some of the red string looks like, but you can tell that there's seemingly no connection here, except that it all happens on the 5 days before, during, and after the Shetere full moon.
Mm.
So is there any mention on the board of the bloodroot in the area?
I mean, No, but you would gather that if these habitual murders have been happening like 2 or 3 times a year for the past like 3 years, that this is something that has just become a characteristic of the town because there's so many death. There's so much death. You do notice that everything started about 3 years ago, which was when things started to settle down. The Lord moved here shortly after those things happened.
Is there on the board the family of the deceased, the previous lord, on there?
Yes. However, there are no notes written.
I'll tap that section of the board and say, if what I saw last night is true, I think the Lord tried to protect the boy, and the boy had antlers, and the fire was going, and somebody was screaming outside the room, and then something burst into the room. And that's all I saw. But I think the Lord was trying to protect the boy.
Vince purses his lips. Make another persuasion check.
Not an advantage.
You can do a straight roll then because you're exhausted.
God bless America. It's still not. It's still not great. You said persuasion?
Or high DC. Yeah.
I know. You said it's super high DC?
It's not a super high DC.
Oh, okay.
DC 13.
Oh, you still don't get it.
Shoot.
So
Oh, man.
Anybody want to help me?
I could
It's a
try.
It's an 11. But I do think he's not necessarily trying to like persuade. I think in looking at this board and given his background and his profession as a person, I do think it's more him outlining the facts as he knows them and trying to pinpoint, like, if there is, he's not necessarily trying to persuade him of anything. He's just trying to go, okay, these people were killed. It was a violent thing. The Lord was trying to protect the boy. He had antlers, but he didn't in the portrait. I think that's more what he's doing than any actual persuading. But I rolled an 11.
Okay. The Lord like purses his lips and gives like a curt nod. If you find any pattern on the board, feel free to let me know. I've looked at it countless times.
You know, I do have a question. Oh shit!
I just had a thought. Sorry.
In character thought.
I mean, I think maybe it would have been given, but I think it is in character enough evidence. Yeah. I think so. I'm gonna. I had a brain blast. Brasco kind of looks through the board and he looks at, jealousy, cheating, and he kind of looks over at Lord Vance and goes, "Were you that boy's father?"
Vince like pauses, gives you a pointed look. That is none of your business.
Can I insight check him?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because the genealogy, the antlers, the cheating.
That's a 25 insight check.
This dude looks guilty.
Oh, okay. It's interesting. I guess DM question, did the portrait of the boy have antlers?
No, just make a history.
Horns, yeah.
Well, I say this is common enough knowledge. You don't need to make a check. Tieflings don't begin to sprout their horns until they hit puberty.
Okay. Maybe I know this, right? It's interesting.
So that's just like,
yeah, the
thing.
Portrait of the boy didn't have any horns, but Brasco, you said in your dream.
I saw them in the dream. I mean, look, I'm not going to judge. I don't really
Absolutely not.
care. But it looks like the secrets are what are killing people. Take from that what you will. This one was mad at them for that. They were cheating on them. If there's something that look, I don't really care. You're lord of this town. I don't think you're the one actually killing people. But I do think you know something. So, it's up to you.
Okay. I mean, you can, like, that's good. You can make another persuasion if you want.
Is it terrible? Oh, I should have taken a
You
nap.
can try.
You should have taken a nap.
Okay, because like I'll roll like decent, like I'll roll like
Of
a 15 or
course.
something, and then like, as soon as I get the other one, it's like 10. Yeah, no, that's nothing. It's nothing. It's not enough. So he's just talking, I guess, and I do think he's still just kind of perusing the board though, and going, something about the fire.
I think I can see that you do care about the people in this town, and I mean, that's apparent, but if there are secrets that you're holding, I think it would benefit the people that you're trying to protect to be forthright.
He gives a very slight smile. Clearly, you're not especially versed in politics. Look, I've sent away for somebody to assist us with this. They are sending the capital, sending a mage. The murders have gotten bad enough. She should be here fairly soon to assist with things, I hope. In case she doesn't come, or God's forbid, she's murdered on her way here. I haven't said anything, but surely confessing any lie anyone has can't be the source of halting these murders.
Well, no, but motivation is I don't know. I mean, like Brasco said, look at the board here. There are clear themes, maybe not outright connections, but something's happening, and it's incredibly bad enough for you to outsource help. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like you might have more information that you're not exactly letting on, which is understandable. But my friend's been plagued with dreams and has heard voices, and that's rather unique.
Yeah, I'm not prone to that. The voices kept saying he murdered us, which is why I was a little suspicious of you. But who's he? If not you?
The Lord just gives a shrug. It's what I've been trying to figure out. Look.
Do we still have the letters and the diary with us at all? Did we take those with us?
I would have taken the diary at least.
Do you think we can show him that maybe?
Sure. I wasn't exactly honest. We did take something. Sorry.
They like brows like lower.
It was with good intentions here, and she'll just pass it along.
Right. He stops and glances through the book. His eyes like furrowing as he glances over it. I don't read magic, but I I recognize some of these symbols. Make a persuasion check. I say at advantage with the book.
Ah, okay. I play a high charisma character in another game, and that's not me.
Oh God, I'm a bard in my other campaign.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a dirty 20.
that's
Okay.
good. That's good.
There. I was like, damn, like they're just never gonna figure it out. They're
I'm so
no.
annoyed. I
This
keep
is
rolling
what I
11s and 10s because I have a negative one.
I mean, I guess you could finish it without figuring it out, but
No, we can't.
Damn it.
So he kind of like looks at the book and kind of like looks at you and gives like a long sigh. Look, Adeline and I were childhood friends, and when Lord Lark made an offer of marriage to her, I wasn't in a position to do so, and it wasn't something she could turn down for the sake of her family. She kept a correspondence with me. Lord Lark was not a man of sound mind. He delved into darker magics, and she said he kept them hidden. She wrote to me several years ago, said that she was afraid that he was delving into something far darker than she had previously thought, something to do with undeath. She begged that I come investigate, and I debated, but when I heard there had been a murder in her town, I made my way there. I relocated my life to ensure her protection. And he like takes a deep breath. It was about then that Aaron's horns came in, and Lord Lark flew into a rage. He made threats of curses upon me. He made may he rest in peace. I don't believe that he murdered his family. I don't think these people would have murdered their families either, and I wouldn't have murdered Adeline or Aaron or Lockhart. But I can't remember what happened the night he was killed.
Where were you? Do you know where you were the night he died?
I awoke in my bed with my feet dirty. Same thing has happened to a number of others.
This is outside of my wheelhouse, to say the least. Do we think it's possible Lord Lark brought something into this world?
I don't know. I don't know enough about magic to divine this.
Han, you got any idea?
If these murders are happening during the full moon when emotions are high, I'm curious, these murders have been happening recently, past 3 years, or they've always been happening?
The past 3 years.
And this was when Lord Lark had, I assume, been, I guess, experimenting with his dark magic.
I don't know. Adeline had suspicions for some time.
Goddamn.
Is there anyone in town you know of that you might be able to predict might be next? Someone who's been having a hard time lately, might be feeling aggressive?
No one in particular I can think of, but I don't know. No one comes to mind. He, like, you can see that sort of this confession, I would say probably not you, Brosco, but the other two of you can see that this confession has like rattled something in him, and he's clearly having a hard time. You get the sense that this is maybe the first time he said this out loud to anybody. He quickly makes his excuses. And I would say if you'd like to spend the rest of your day doing anything in particular, we can quickly summarize. But he would shut himself in his office, and there is somebody who works there to cook and clean. And you get the impression, like from her, that she's worried about him, that he does not normally do this. If you want to quickly summarize anything you'd like to do during that day, and then we'll cut to later that night if you'd like.
I'm gonna take a nap.
Okay. So you can spend
gonna-
it sleeping and recover your point of exhaustion.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I don't have any dreams.
No, you do not.
Okay, cool.
I think Julian would spend some time just sort of looking at the conspiracy board a little bit longer, maybe admire the library a bit, and then just sort of go rest a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
As night approaches, the three of you in your respective guest rooms, you can hear everyone just sort of like shuttering things, making sure, you know, like everything is secured. As you go to sleep, you do hear like faint whispers as you hear the voice come back, Roscoe.
I do want to say that I don't think I would go back to bed. I do think I'm going to stay up tonight, having gotten rest during the day, and I'm going to. I'll let everybody know, but I'm going to tell them that I'm going to probably walk the streets, or at least stick around outside and try to listen or hear for any commotion going on in town.
You could offer to do that. Vince like halts you at the door and says, I would strongly recommend you not go out during the full moon.
For my safety or for others?
Both.
All right. But I'm going to stay up and hang by the front door and the windows, and I'm specifically going to be keeping an eye in, ear, or I'm specifically trying to.
Did you want to like open the window or door and like, or stay on the porch, or like what
I could stay on, if I like, ideally he wants to be outside listening for any kind of commotion within town.
Vince warns you, but he's not like your nanny, like
yeah, like ideally though, I do want to kind of keep an eye around the neighborhood and just kind of play neighborhood watch for the evening.
So as you move around the neighborhood, just sort of like checking to see what's going on, I'd like you to make another wisdom saving throw.
Oh shit.
Actually, I mean, it's not terrible. Why do I forget how to add 2? 13. I really lost basic math there for a second. I was like 11 and 2. 13.
As you're walking about, you feel this sort of unsettling like premonition come over you as you put together like what's happened, and you realize that you were right to try to intimidate Vince earlier, and this man clearly, you know, is potentially responsible for a murder. He's put other people in jail who've clearly been grieving and not prosecuted himself in the same way, clearly thinking he's above the law. A sort of bloodlust fills you as you realize that you need to take matters into your own hands in order to bring justice into this world. You turn and make your way back to the house. Adrienne and Hone, are you guys sleeping as well?
No, I'm not sleeping.
I think in resting during the day, yeah, I would skip that.
Always awake, baby.
So I do
The,
think
the
you guys,
two of you hear the door slam open and heavy footsteps march through. If you guys, let's go ahead and roll initiative.
Oh fuck.
Aurora. I'm glad though. Glad.
Oh balls.
Ooh, pretty good. Not actually. No, wait. I shouldn't be happy about that.
I got an 8.
19.
Got
Oh, wait.
23.
I lied. I got a 20. I have advantage. I forgot.
I got a 23.
Oh no.
I got excited and then went, oh no. Don't
Ooh.
I don't want to be. I don't want that actually right now.
That's fine. You're not in control of your body right now. Julianne, go ahead and take your turn. What would you like to do?
So I would like to go towards the sound.
Okay.
How far would it be for me to use my movement to?
It's not, we're going to play this a little bit looser because we don't
Yeah.
have a battle map for where this is going to happen.
Yeah.
I would say that you can use your movement to get up and look out. It's a fairly small hallway. It's just a 2-story house. So you
Okay.
look out, you would see Brosco storming into the living room. You watch, and as he storms past the fireplace, it springs to life. There's a sort of greenish blue glow to the flames. Brosco is holding, wait, it would be your dagger?
Yeah, I guess I've either got 2 daggers out or just a dagger probably would be the ideal.
Brosco is holding 2 daggers and is marching purposefully toward the stairs.
Okay.
Honey, I'm home.
That is terrifying.
I do think there's at least a slight, like, I do think it might be noticeable that, like, for all he is a huge man, at least in the time you've known him, he does step relatively lightly. I think if DM allows, I do think it pretty clear that he's not quite behaving the way.
I mean, your behavior's already pretty strange. I think you get
True. Something's a little off.
I would definitely say that knowing your intent and going out there and understanding the dangers therein, I think I know what's going on here. So would you say that I would be within 90 feet of Brosco?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I am going to cast sleep on Brosco
Hey.
and hope for the best.
I don't have a ton of hit points, so.
Yeah.
So go ahead and roll. Are you casting that at first or second level?
First level.
Okay. How many hit points is it?
20.
Ooh,
Brosco.
I have 21.
All right.
Fuck.
So you cast sleep and you feel this, like your eyelids droop, Brosco, but you're not really in control of your eyelids. So you feel your sort of inner self sag and begin to sort of fade away as like something keeps your eyes open and laser focused on the stairs as this bloodlust fills you.
Yeah, okay, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to hurt you.
Listen, you're a cleric. You beat me up a little.
Hone, what would you like?
I come out and I see Julian try to put this giant man to sleep, no avail. And he, like, obviously, I'm gonna be like, hey, what are you doing? And do I want to stab you though?
Again, I'm an orc. I do have
Fair.
relentless endurance. I'm not as
Only
squishy.
half-orcs have that, actually, I believe.
I have it in my feats.
Oh, a feat? Okay.
It's in the racial traits. Where'd it go?
Oh, maybe the new book changed.
Yeah, I think they gave, I don't know if half orcs still have it, but I know I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. What do you want to do?
I'm going to try punching him just so, yeah.
So you move, you like rush forwards and like swing a punch. Go ahead and make an unarmed strike.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. 8.
Okay. Your fist kind of like goes into solid muscle and you shake your hand out. It's not going to work. Brosco like turns towards you. He has glowing green eyes at the moment and just stares down at you. Brosco, there's some part of you that is conscious, but it's very unaware of what's happening. Like you get the sense that there's something going on, but you're very unaware of what you're doing exactly. Okay, I'm just double checking the position. Okay. All right, that's it. Is that your turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Brosco is going to march up the stairs and attempt to break down the Lord's door. So I'd like you to make a strength check or an athletics check, I would say, as you just kind of shoulder ram into this door.
Well, here's the great thing. I'm not great at those. That's a 5. I don't add anything to that.
Brosco slams into the door and you hear a startled cry come from within. The Lord's voice called out, "What's happening?"
It's all glamour muscles.
They're not they're just weird the muscles that don't
He's just really like it's just he just toned things. He did
Lord's voice calls, "What's happening?" Brosco, on your turn, you can feel this thing sort of warring within yourself. Part of you begins to go to sleep, but there is another voice within you that cries out, "Murderer! Murderer!" And with rage, you can tell that like they have found whatever killed their family. As these things fight within each other, I would say this allows you to make an additional wisdom saving throw at the top of your turn.
Which now would be okay. What's that? Ooh, that's good. That's very good. Wisdom 17.
All right. As you sort of like battle within yourself, this voice, this sense of like cry for justice calls out within you, and it overpowers the bloodlust enough for you to like snap your eyes open on your own for the first time. The strength of that force pushes whatever else is inhabiting you out. And I'd like to credit artflow.ai for this wonderful image. This sort of decrepit creature just sort of stumbles out of Brosco, semi-corporeal, about his height, just sort of like almost human, almost elven, but not quite. There's something like corrupt and just sort of feral about this creature. The creature just sort of like gnashes its teeth angrily, as if it's just been sort of like shoved to the side. And as the voice cries out, "Murderer!" you feel your own throat pulse, Brosco, as the voice moves through you, and you feel what remains of the strength of this ghost inhabit you in order to overcome whatever this thing is that has murdered his family. I would say for the remainder of the fight, you have advantage on attacks against the creature, and you can add a +2 to your attack rolls.
Whoa!
Fancy.
Right.
Do I have anything at this moment
you can
at
say
all?
if you want.
I'm just gonna be like, found it.
Right. Brosco cries out, and as he does, his voice is two-toned. There's Brosco's deep sort of orc baritone, and there's a higher, wispier voice of like a sort of like elderly man with throat strain. As they sort of like draw their daggers and now turn towards this creature. Julianne, you are up next.
Fantastic.
I'm having so much fun. Sorry.
Yeah. So Julian sees the split happen and immediately sends a first level guiding bolt at this sort of new spirit that has separated itself.
Okay.
So that would be Ugh, a 12 to hit.
12 misses.
Yep.
You send this bolt of energy flying towards the creature. The creature looks at you for a moment and goes incorporeal in the instant in which this would hit, and it strikes the desk behind you.
Okay. How far would I be from them?
I would imagine that Brosco had run up the stairs, so I would say you're
Yeah.
at the bottom of the stairs, kind of looking at this landing that has, I would say, like a slightly wider area. It opens to the office and to the which is open, and to the bedroom, which is closed.
Okay. I'm going to stay where I am then and just end my turn there.
Okay. Home.
Okay. So I run up to this creature and I have both short swords in hand. So I'm going to try to make my first hit or try to swing with my first short sword.
Okay. Are your weapons magical?
No.
Okay. And make an attack roll.
Yeah. So that is a 13.
13 just hits.
Okay, cool. Does piercing, that's an 8.
Okay. So you stab into this creature, and the creature does cry out with a sort of unearthly hiss, its mouth opening a little too wide, like the flesh straining and tearing a little bit at its mouth. But you see that it doesn't wound as much as you would imagine it would, as the creature is semi-transparent.
Yucky. I can make my bonus action, since I have 2-weapon fighting, to hit with my other short sword.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna hit it again. Or try to. 15.
15 hits.
And that is 5 damage.
Okay. All right. Is that your turn?
Mm-hmm.
The creature, looking at you and hissing, is going to use its regeneration ability. So you watch as it just sort of like some of the sort of almost ghost-like viscera just sort of like sucks slow, like rewind camera back into the creature as it hisses at you. It's going to attack you with its claws. So that's going to be a 12 and a 19. What's your armor class?
It's 13.
Okay. So one of them hits. That's going to be 12 points of slashing damage as the creature like drags one long claw down your front. Okay. It just sort of like seems to relish in the blood almost. Julianne, you would notice that the claw begins to lengthen as it pierces home, and when it removes the claw, it looks almost like a stab wound. Roscoe, you are up.
I believe I get advantage because it's in combat with an ally.
Well, you get advantage because I just granted you advantage on your attacks against this creature.
Oh shit! Sorry,
But,
I was like all ready to be like, I know how rogues work. I know how
for
rogues.
For rogues, you would also get advantage, but you have just in general, you have advantage.
Yeah.
For this.
Cool. This is a. It's a 23 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
And so the dagger is D4 and then an additional 1d6. And you said I have a +2 to damage?
Attack.
Okay, so that's a 25 to hit, but whatever.
Yeah, that hits.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 11 damage total.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's my move. Yeah.
All right. You stab into it with your dagger, and the rest of you notice that as you stab into it, there's this blue ghostly light that envelops the dagger as you stab it, and it seems to pierce some of the incorporeal flesh against the creature, making it a little more, I don't know, stabby than it would have been otherwise.
There's a ghost in me that is
Yeah.
also hitting this thing. there's the ghost.
You're
All right, is that your
haunted.
turn?
I'm haunted. I'm haunted.
All right, Julianne, you're up.
Okay. So seeing that the guiding bolt just didn't work, it sort of passed through. She'll sort of focus her energy differently, and I'm going to, in the area surrounding this entity, cast Moonbeam.
Okay.
So that's a Constitution 14 save.
That's a 16.
Ah, balls. Okay, so half damage then. So half of 18 would be 9 points of damage.
Hey,
What type of damage?
Radiant damage.
Okay.
it's good damage. It's
It is
good
good
Alright.
damage.
The creature tries to dodge out of the way. You watch as this moonbeam that just sort of like, the light doesn't appear from anywhere in particular, but you watch as Adrienne like grasps this lapel pin of hers with the symbol of Mortara, and this sort of like bluish black energy pours from it and just sort of like dust particles almost, and coalesces into this uncanny light that hits the creature. The creature cries out in pain. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, Hone.
Ouchies, I'm bleeding. I'm gonna keep stabbing at him. I don't have anything magical. So
Stab away.
short sword. Ooh, 12.
12 misses, unfortunately.
Let's try to hit it again.
All right, swinging with your offhand.
Mm-hmm. And is it still +2 or?
That's only for Brosco because he has a ghost in him.
That's right. Okay, but it's a dirty 20.
I'm haunted.
The 20 definitely hits. You slash at the creature, and as it dodges out of the moonbeam, just sort of like evading you, clearly practiced in avoiding people fending it off. You're able to get it with your offhand. It seems unprepared to take this many people at once, and perhaps did not expect this many powerful allies. What's the damage?
Is 6.
Okay. You stab into the creature, just sort of catching it in the arm. It cries out again. The creature is up. See, it's gonna
On
go.
the start of its turn, I think it also takes more damage.
Think so. If
it starts or if it ends its turn. In the
So it
moonbeam.
says when a creature enters the spell area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, it's engulfed in ghostly flames.
That's fair. Okay, so it makes another dex save.
Yes.
Oh,
Con save 14.
That's, let me check its con. That's 14 exactly.
All right.
still, we love that radiant damage in this house.
We do love it. That would be 8 points of radiant damage. That's
Okay.
been halved already.
All right. It's not resistant to radiant damage.
I just because did he fail the save?
Oh no, okay, sorry. Yes, no, he didn't
Okay.
make the save. Gotcha. Okay. The creature cries out and is going to use its movement to exit the moonbeam, and is going to zero in and attack Brosco, just sort of like sensing that there's some sort of ghostly.
Do I get opportunity of attack since it's moving away from my vicinity or no?
So it's going to try and like move away so it doesn't quite get to you. It seems to be pretty smart the way it's strategizing. In future, usually I do have battle maps. I just had anticipated the story would go down a little differently, so I don't have one for the Lord's house.
I think we all thought we were going to be fighting at the haunted mansion.
That's an 18 and an 11 to hit as the creature stabs you.
1 hits. The 18 hits. The 11 does not.
You're going to take 11 points of slashing damage.
Oof.
The creature cries out. Brosco, top of your turn.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just getting rid of those hit points. I'm gonna just attack it again. I think I'm fueled a little bit by something otherworldly.
Okay.
And fuck this guy.
Yeah.
So that's a 17 total.
That hits.
So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 damage total plus sneak attack.
Okay. All right. You stab the creature once again. It cries out. Yeah, I don't really think there's much else I can do at the moment. It's just weird. It's just strange for me to be playing a strictly like combat kind of class. So I'm like, I don't. So you can bonus action disengage, dash, or hide. So if you would want to do something else, you can. But if you just want to stand there and stab it, you totally can.
Yeah, I do think he does. I do think he does want to stay in combat with it. It's just for me, Allison. I'm like,
right.
I don't have anything that I like would usually do.
Julianne.
Okay. I'm really enjoying what's happening with this moonbeam, so I'm just gonna keep moving that along. I can move it up to 60 feet in any direction. So I'll move it back over, just seeing that the radiant energy is having an effect. So I'll move that back over again. So that's another 14 con save.
That's a 18.
Okay, so that would be 7 points then of radiant damage.
Okay. All right. Again, the creature cries out. Hone.
Stabby.
Go ahead and make your attack rolls.
Love to stab.
Ooh, that's
We
a
do
20.
love.
Get
Natural-
hit.
Natural 20?
No,
Uh,
I'm not. Sorry. Dirty
It's okay.
20.
Okay.
Gets damaged. Stabby for 7.
Okay. All right. The creature is starting to look desperate now, and it sort of lashes out. I would say still at Brosco, because Brosco is the one hurting it the most. It's going to make, I would say, seeing that Brosco is weakened, it's going to make one attack at Brosco and one attack at Han.
Can I use my bonus action from before to hit again with my other short sword before it tries to do anything?
You made 2 attack rolls, right?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the first. The 20 was for the dirty 20 was for the first sword damaged, and then the other thing was a 12, so it doesn't hit anyway. So
okay. The creature is going to lash out at Brosco and then Han. That's a 21 and a 19, which both hit. So Brosco, that's 8 points of damage to you, and Han, that's 9 points of damage to you.
Ellie.
uh-oh.
The creature sort of like lashes out, striking into you. There's been sort of like the calling through the door of what's happening, but there's clearly fighting noises. And you watch as the door unlashes, and the Lord sort of shows himself in his pajamas, holding like a crossbow, and he is going to attack.
Hell yeah.
Crossbow bolt. The 16.
What's going on out there?
So you watch as like the door flies open and dude with his like nightcap on, like has a giant
full little floppy nightcap with tassels. Yes.
Nightcap with the tassels and everything,
Yes.
and
It has holes for his horns.
So happy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has a little nightcap on each of the horns.
He's got little. There's so that he doesn't poke holes in his pillow.
Yeah.
At it like the pool noodles you put on goats.
On goats. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And he lets loose the crossbow, and the crossbow like flies into the creature and hits it in the shoulder. And he just kind of lets out a terrified scream as he frantically goes to reload it. Brosco, you're up.
I'm definitely gonna go for hitting it again.
Okay. Watch as this ghostly rage, as you just sort of like feel your blood draining out of you, this ghostly rage envelops you. And as you open your mouth, this sort of unearthly scream comes out as this voice shouts, "Murderer!" Go ahead and make
That's
your attack.
that was a 22 to hit.
That'll hit.
2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 total to hit. Or sorry, 10 damage. I rolled a yeah, you know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Kill it.
How do I kill it?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yay.
Ooh.
I think I pull out the other dagger, and just they just come together to kind of slash both ways, but like just a kind of cross slash, and I want the head to pop off and just go rolling.
Okay.
As like this ghostly energy really just fuels me forward to like, you have been the cause of everything that has gone wrong, and I want you gone.
All right. So you feel this creature just sort of scream and writhe as it slowly begins to vanish, not into the ether, but in flames, as it erupts into these sort of like turquoise, glittery teal flames, slowly burning away to nothing. The Lord just sort of like standing there, looking at you bewildered. The rest of the night passes pretty eventfully. He summons the guards, everyone, like takes reports. You guys are questioned as witnesses as to what happened. And as the Lord just sort of like decompresses, he begins to, like realize that potentially the curse on this town has been lifted. Just sort of congratulating you. The following day, Tibby arrives. She had been sent with a carriage to collect Beetle and Scoria, and had been asked to continue down a few days in order to attend to this before coming back up. Upon meeting you, who she'd heard of from Beetle and Scoria, who had given you a glowing recommendation, and hearing the attestment from the Lord as to what happened, as she just sort of like questions the town and like sort of hears that you guys have been like town heroes for the last 3 days. It offers you a position along with Scoria and Beetle. Brasco, I believe she would make it very clear that you would be teleported to Fendere if you were to accept.
I will take that offer, yes.
But that several of Brasco's friends have been offered a position. She kind of like lets you in on like a political secret, in that the proposed peace treaty they're suspicious of, and they want to send people who can take care of themselves as opposed to just trained politicians. If you accepted, you would come to the Vertogen Palace and be trained for a number of weeks before being teleported to Fendere and negotiating terms of this peace treaty before the king came to sign it. During this time, you'd also be looking out for political assassinations and trying to keep the king as safe as possible. You can tell that Tibby cares deeply for this person and is doing everything she can to ensure his safety, and that is your top priority.
I'm in.
It's a decent gig. I'll take it.
Say you guys are given some gold. You sign the contract, and renting some horses. He escorts the rest of you guys to the capital, and we will pick up there next week with our session 1.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
good times. How much gold did we get?
I'll be sending you guys some messages on what some of
Cool.
your looks like and other items that you can add before we start next session.
Okay, I'm just. Oh man, that was so much fun. I'm so happy we fixed the town. Ow!
You did it!
Thank goodness.
Just hit my elbow. Oh, good stuff.
Hone
Good
just
stuff.
gives a thumbs up as he's like bleeding profusely from his chest.
I would heal you. I would heal you both immediately.
I was a little worried at that, but that last hit there because I was down to 2 hit points, so I was gonna be like,
Yeah, I was at 4.
time
So
to disengage.
Guys, I'm ready for this. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
She'll heal you, just only if you're dying.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't super panicky because I was like, okay, if he does get me on the next hit, I do have relentless endurance. I can get out of there.
Oh my goodness.
If
Oh.
I die, I die. I guess.
It was-
Right. Nice, great job, guys. Well, thank you so much to everyone who is watching, and we will see you next week.
Yay! See you guys. Are we doing outros? Do we do that now still?
Oh yes, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot.
You never know what I'm doing. It's all
Yes,
good.
let's do outros. Let's talk about the people.
Yeah.
Allison, do you want to start? Where can we find you? What else
Sure.
are you doing?
I am here Tuesdays, of course, at 4:30 Pacific time. I'm also here on I think we're going to be going a mid-season break for the City of Arches, but I'm often here on Thursdays around, what is it, 7? 6:30? 7? 5? 7. 5. Yes. Cat is gesturing at me in the back at 5 o'clock ish to play City of Arches, where I play Selma, a little fairy druid. And you can also find me over on Exquisite Corpse Presents on Saturdays. We just had our season 2 premiere of Say a Prayer for California Sister Cities. Shit is getting real in post-apocalyptic 2015. It's good times. And you can always also find me on Twitter at It's a Feral. I'll pass it along to Kristen.
Hey, what's up? I am only on here on MissGuided Magic, so watch us again. You can follow me at Amazing Creation Asian at Twitter. I'm not really on there, but we can still be friends.
Beth.
I'm Beth. I'm also just here. Excited to be. But yeah, all of my social media is under my actual name because I didn't bother with an alias of any kind. So you can find me at Beth Masco. It's a difficult name to spell. It's in the things. You'll find it. Yeah.
And I'm everywhere at Maria Oglesby Art, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Etsy. You can commission me to do character art and maps for you, or pet portraits. I also want to plug a couple of things from the channel. Most things are on break right now, but next week, all the regular scheduling should be back. On the 28th, which is Thursday at 5:30 p.m., there's going to be a one-shot of Stealing Stories for the Devil by Monte Cook. This is a Kickstarter funded project that they are going to be running just to show you the mechanics of the game. It's very RP based. And we will be back at 1 for Watercolor Wizardry next week and 4:30 for MissGuided Magic. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.